Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something truly fascinating. We're basically doing a corporate true crime breakdown, but instead of fingerprints and alibis, we're looking at digital footprints and access logs. We are diving deep into a case study that perfectly, and honestly kind of terrifyingly, illustrates one of the most dangerous yet completely invisible threats in any modern workplace. We're looking at the infamous Ops Admin Temp case. This is a wild story where one single, totally forgotten login compromised an entire organization, quietly rewrote performance metrics, and literally almost derailed a person's career. So let's dive right into this. We're going to break down exactly how everyday workplace convenience transforms into outright corruption, and we'll use this specific case study to really understand the hidden mechanics of access abuse.
I want to anchor our entire explainer immediately with this quote, because it's such a powerful takeaway from the case. A shared password is not teamwork, it is a hiding place. Think about that for a second. We so often think of shared logins as, just a way to get things done faster, a little shortcut around IT red tape, right? Someone says, hey, just use the admin login so we don't have to wait for your permissions to clear. But here's the reality. When everyone can enter a digital room under nobody's specific name, absolutely nobody is accountable. Untraceable digital access is the ultimate cover for sabotage. It's like wearing a mask in the office, and that is exactly the dark reality we are exploring today.
So, you have to wonder, how does a massive, coordinated corporate cover-up actually begin to unravel? What happens when one forgotten sticky note literally holds the power to rewrite the truth? In our case study today, the inciting incident wasn't some incredibly sophisticated hack. It wasn't a massive data breach alarm going off in a server room. Actually, it was shockingly mundane. During a routine office cleanout, an employee named Aisha found an old, faded sticky note just tucked under a keyboard. We've all seen them, right? On this one was scribbled a single credential, Ops Admin Temp. That tiny, physical, easily overlooked artifact, that was the loose thread. And pulling on it would eventually unravel months of impossible, hidden digital edits.
Section 1. The Hidden Master Key. Let's look at what happened immediately after that sticky note was discovered, because the reaction to it tells us everything we need to know about the gravity of the situation. When Aisha handed that sticky note to the company's IT audit specialist, Jordan Price, the color just completely drained from his face. Why? Because of this very simple, very scary fact. Temporary access is only temporary when someone actually remembers to turn it off. Jordan instantly realized that this Ops Admin Temp login wasn't just some low-level intern account. It was a highly privileged administrative account. It was a master key created for a rushed project. And the terrifying part? It should have expired an entire year ago, but it hadn't. It was still fully operational. And as we're going to see, leaving an unexpired master key lying around is essentially leaving a ticking time bomb inside a corporate network.
Section 2. Tracing the digital ghost.
Okay, so once Jordan realized this master key was still active, the immediate next step was obvious. Check the logs. Where exactly had this ghost user been? This timeline brilliantly illustrates the evolution of what turned into a massive security failure. Looking back over the past year, the account was born out of operational necessity. There was a rushed merger project, and you know how it goes. Speed was prioritized over security. Get it done now, fix the permissions later. Then, if we look at 6 months ago, we see a formal request by a senior manager named Clara. She specifically asked to extend the access of this temporary account. But the most alarming data points, they're right there at the end of the timeline. In recent weeks, the audit logs revealed midnight logins from this exact account. Midnight! And what were they doing in the dark? They were altering strategy lead Maya's promotion workflows. They were manipulating hidden key performance indicator sheets and quietly editing client deck archives. This ghost user was everywhere the truth was being changed after hours. Every locked door in the system had been opened with the exact same borrowed key.
Section 3. Dangerous culture of convenience.
Now, it's really important to understand that technology doesn't just fail in a vacuum. It fails because the organizational culture actually allows it to. Let's look at how the executives at this company actively enabled this situation. During the internal investigation, an executive assistant named Nina Ross uncovered some highly revealing emails from Clara, that senior manager who requested the extension. Clara's justification for keeping the temporary account active, she claimed it was needed until strategic transitions stabilize. Now, corporate jargon like that can often sound perfectly harmless, right? It sounds professional. But Nina sharply points out the reality of what was actually happening. She said strategic transition meant moving blame before anyone noticed. Wow. The very language of business efficiency was actively being weaponized here to maintain a secret backdoor into the company's most sensitive files.
But here's the thing. Clara couldn't keep that master account open all by herself. It required executive approval, and that approval came from a board executive named Victor.
Now later on, Victor tried to defend himself. His excuse was basically that he approves dozens of IT requests every week, and he simply didn't read the details. Because, let's face it, executives hate waiting for IT approvals. But Elise Warren, another key figure in this case, delivers just a sharp, totally devastating critique of Victor's defense. She tells him, "Carelessness at your level is still power." That is such a profound lesson in leadership accountability. Choosing not to look, choosing convenience over compliance at the executive level, that isn't just a simple mistake or a valid excuse. It's a reckless exercise of power that leaves the entire organization vulnerable to sabotage.
So what exactly do we call this specific type of governance failure? Let's define it clearly so we know exactly what we're dealing with. Access abuse is the exploitation of excessive or shared system privileges to manipulate, steal, or delete data without individual accountability. Notice what's missing from that definition. It's not about shadowy outside hackers breaking in through a firewall, guessing passwords, or writing malware. No, it's about the people who are already inside the building. It's people exploiting the legitimate, everyday tools they've been improperly given to orchestrate a cover-up. It's an inside job facilitated by terrible digital housekeeping.
And you know, the absolute beauty of IT auditing is that it completely cuts right through all the usual office politics and the lies. Ethan, who was a former rising star in the company, desperately tried to deflect the blame when the heat got turned up. His claim? "I'm not technical enough to use admin access." He's basically playing the card of incompetence to avoid suspicion. "I'm just a business guy. I don't know how computers work." But the undeniable digital proof presented by Jordan, the IT auditor, showed the exact opposite. The log showed that the ops admin temp login was traced directly to Ethan's specific laptop IP address on 3 consecutive nights. As Jordan brilliantly countered during the confrontation, you don't actually need any technical skill whatsoever when someone just hands you the master password on a silver platter. The logs simply don't lie. And the elaborate performance Ethan put on completely cracked under the sheer weight of that digital evidence.
Section 4. Pulling the live plug.
So armed with this totally undeniable proof, Jordan doesn't just send a polite email asking people to stop. Oh no. He takes direct, immediate action during a live meeting where all the key players, including Ethan and Clara, are sitting right there around the glass table. Jordan decides to disable the ops admin temp account right there in real time. He just pulls the plug. And the immediate domino effect of doing that is staggering to watch. Right there in the meeting, 3 things happen instantly. First, a massive hidden folder synchronization instantly fails. Second, an automated script, which was designed to artificially inflate Ethan's KPI reports, suddenly stops running. And third, a scheduled permanent deletion of highly sensitive client documents is instantly blocked. The entire hidden machinery that was running in the background of the company literally ground to a halt the exact second that master key was revoked.
And I just want you to imagine the silence in that room. It must have been absolutely deafening. The visual of those automated scripts failing, one by one, popping up on the screen, perfectly validates Jordan's impactful statement in that moment. That is what a cover-up looks like when the power is cut. It wasn't just a matter of catching someone in a lie and saying, "Gotcha." It was a matter of physically watching the deceptive automated digital architecture they had built crumble into pieces right in front of their eyes.
Section 5. Changing the corporate locks.
Now, finding the culprit is great, but it isn't the end of a mature business process. Because as satisfying as all that boardroom drama is, the true value of this case study lies in how the organization actually fixes the underlying systemic issue. Strategy lead Maya Carter, who remember, was the primary victim of those secretly altered documents, she steps up. She chooses to prioritize strict governance over revenge or spectacle. And she lays out a really pragmatic 3-step repair plan. First, they implement mandatory password rotation. That means a sticky note from a year ago instantly becomes entirely useless. Next, step 2, they assign strict, named ownership to all access points. No more generic ops admin accounts floating around. From now on, every single digital action must be tied to a specific human being's name. And finally, step 3, they enforce multi-factor authentication, or MFA. This ensures that even if a password is stolen or shared, the attacker can't get in without the secondary device, like a phone prompt. As Maya so perfectly noted, they didn't just need to find the borrowed key. They needed to completely change the locks on the entire building.
And what was the final result of this aggressive new governance policy? 0. That is the number of shared anonymous accounts left active on the IT Access dashboard after the final audit. Absolute 0. Every single point of entry now had a named, accountable owner. And as for Ethan, well, his laptop was permanently sealed in an evidence bag and handed over for a full forensic review. Accountability was finally completely restored to the organization.
It's really easy to look at a crazy case study like this and just point fingers at characters like Ethan or Victor, right? But I want you to think about your own workplace for a minute. Ask yourself, if your organization's temporary doors were audited today, who would be holding the keys? Are there shared passwords floating around on sticky notes under keyboards in your office? Are there temporary administrative accounts that everyone has simply forgotten to close? I highly encourage you to reflect on your own access security after hearing this. Because as we've learned today, workplace convenience can very, very quickly become corporate corruption. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I look forward to unpacking our next fascinating topic with you all very soon.